Hello, hello. Welcome back to the Scaling Deep podcast. And I've been a bit remiss and a bit absent this summer. And that's really because I've been having a summer, and I hope you've been having a summer too. I've had some camping trips, and it's been really great to unplug. And my kid and my his cousins have been at the perfect age still to be hanging out at the campground. So we've just done it for one more year. And you know what I love about it is we have amazing provincial campsites here where we have these beautiful sites in the woods, not really that close to your neighbor, and they're a great place to just chill out and breathe in fresh air and not be on a computer and not really have anything to do. So that's what I've been doing a lot this summer, and working my butt off on this training that I'm going to be delivering at the end of August. And it has been like writing a book. I've had such epiphanies because I've added in the kinds of things that I've never bothered to add in to any of my trainings or webinars or during any of my enrollment periods. And so it's actually taken me quite a bit of time to pull all this stuff together because I had never done it before. I'd not ever really addressed certain aspects of selling and what helps to have people feel like they can make a great buying decision. They know enough about you and what you stand for, where you'd like to take them, and what problems you solve, and also how you solve the problems. And there's just a lot of information in there that I have been pulling together and bringing together in a way that I hadn't before. And what's interesting about that I'll quickly share with you before I get into today's topic is the things that we think are the most beneficial are sometimes not the best pieces of information for selling. So a lot of people will love providing great content and training and really useful tips, like such useful stuff that people don't even need to buy from you. And while that also may seem really authentic because you're genuinely giving away great stuff to people, it's also easy. And in some cases, it's the easy way out. And the reason why I say that is because pulling together presentations or trainings that actually shift people's thinking and tell more stories and are more creative in how you're delivering the information is much harder. So while we think we're doing the right thing by giving authentic information, we're not always leaving people in a place where they feel like they should buy from you or take the next step to get the support that they actually really need. Because even if your 1 hour or 2 hour training or 4-day boot camp is packed full of information, there's just no way that anyone can get massive results in such a short period of time. And they're not meant to. They are meant to see what it's all about, what you're all about, so that they can sign up for something that they need continued support with in order to get the goal. And so we're sometimes doing them a disservice by providing too much information so they think they've got everything they need to know, and then they go on. And that's okay, because some people, we do want to move on and go and DIY because they're not ready to invest. And that's really a different kind of conversation than the people who are actually really thinking that they want to take their dream to further and to the next level. They can't do it on their own because nobody can get to their dream on their own. They can do parts of it, but they can't do everything to figure out solutions and get results and get help and support when they're stuck all by themselves. So this is why if you're not setting yourself up as the person who can really provide that support later by showing them who you are now and what you stand for, which is the most important thing to communicate during a training or any kind of information you're giving to people who have not yet bought from you. And then afterwards, once they purchase, you can help them with all the nitty-gritty details. So that is something that I've learned, and I'm still learning, and it's taking me a ton of time, but I'm excited about it because it's a big shift for me. And I'm also very excited to be teaching those around me not to keep giving away too much detailed content, because you're really meant to help people take the next step. I mean, that's the purpose of it. If your purpose of a training is to help people make a great buying decision and help them take the step, or at least see if this is right for them, so that they are excited about the transformation, so that they are willing to take the step to work with you to go to the next level, then that's what the goal of the training, or the purpose, or the content of the training needs to be. Anyways, that aside, one more quick aside. So the interesting thing about this whole working, I'd say half time this summer, because it's another reason why it's taking me so long to get this training done, is because I've gone on like a few weeks of vacation already, and I've got another couple coming up, is I have been completely off social media. Okay. Like, I don't remember when I posted on Instagram last. I thought about posting something, this really cute picture from camping with a bunch of kids all like doing these cool glow sticks with like spelt out these cool little letters. And I'm like, I just don't want to do it. And I've barely been on it. I haven't been looking at anything. I haven't been reading anything. And I'm still getting clients. I'm actually getting found by some amazing people through some channels that I've been working on for a while, and having some awesome people come work with me privately, because that's the only way you can access the Profitable Membership Club right now as well, get support, and then join the Profitable Membership Club, because that comes with my private VIP day intensives is a few months inside the Profitable Membership Club. And that's awesome, because now we've got all this energy in there of people who are really committed, really serious, have memberships, have put a lot of work into it already, and that's been amazing. And I've been completely off social for at least a month. So guess what? You can grow your business without being on social all the time. And I think I'm going to save that for another upcoming episode because I think that's a really important topic. There are some things you might want to do or have to set your social up, but you don't need it. Okay. And if that's not your favorite place, and it's not the place where all your clients find you all the time, then you don't need it. So we'll talk about that another day, but that's just been an interesting experiment number 2 that this summer has been all about. 1, putting together a one-of-a-kind training video I never have before, and 2, barely being on social and feeling really, really good about it. So anyway, the question that I wanted to really answer and talk about today is, should you have a free group before you start your membership, or even after you start your membership? And this question came up because a couple of my recent private clients have had Facebook groups. Now, one has a Facebook group that's been free for a very long time, and a fairly high volume paid membership on Facebook, okay, but with different things. And then another one of my clients is just launching her membership and has her audience on a free Facebook group that she kind of experimented with the whole concept of her membership via having a free group for a year. And I wanted to address this because I think that having free groups sometimes gets us in a bit of a predicament. Now, I also have a free Facebook group that I started after I started my membership. And I think that there's nuances to why we would do it and why we wouldn't do it. And I want to go through that now, because I think that in some cases it makes a lot of sense. And in other cases, it makes it more challenging to either run both or differentiate from the free to the paid. So let's talk about this for a little bit. Now, I'm not saying that it is all about Facebook, because there's a lot of other groups. I know a lot of people have free groups on Mighty Network. Like, there's other places than Facebook. But I think because most people tend to put up free things on Facebook. And part of the reason why we choose Facebook is because we know that we can get traffic just by being on Facebook. So I'm going to pick on Facebook today. So should you have a free group on Facebook? Now let's look at the different options. So let's say one, you want to start a paid membership and you don't have an audience and you're testing your concept. Does anyone want this? Is anyone interested in this? And I also think that I could grow a gathering or a following of people who might later buy from me if I start a Facebook group first. Okay. And so in that case, yes, there is a good case for having a Facebook group, but I want you to think about what you will do later instead of just throwing it up and then not thinking about what happens when you start your paid membership. Because there are a couple different scenarios where having both or transitioning from one to the other is going to be tricky. So case number one, you have a free group. It gathers a lot of people. You don't give it a lot of personalized attention. You do nurture, but you keep it light. And what you're truly planning to offer later is a little bit more in-depth content and connection that people are still craving and need through a paid group that may or may not be on Facebook, but the value of the purchase is really clear and it's really different from the free group. And in that case, yes, maybe it does make sense. The challenge is that many people give so much away on their free group and so much of their own personal time and attention to prove their value, get proof of concept that people will engage if you show up and deliver. And, we're always trying to do that because, it can be true. We could be willing to show up and deliver, but people are still not responding or consuming even when it's free. So we are proving that with a free group. And finally, also depending on what the purpose of the group is, you can still get people engaged and not be really giving that much other than you just created a space. So that transition makes sense if people are craving more and they are needing some kind of qualifier. They're looking for that filter in a paid group. So they're saying, wow, I had such a great experience in this free group that I know a paid group is going to mean this is going to be way better because they're going to be more qualified people who are going to take that paid journey with me. I'm going to get access to the group leader in some way, more time, more attention, and more of the meat of what I'm looking for in terms of change. Okay. So that differentiator needs to be very clear. Now, even better if you're not planning to host on Facebook, so your paid group is somewhere else, then that really differentiates your Facebook as this anyone can join, but you're not going to get a ton of stuff. And so that it's obviously you're using it more as a marketing tool, like just having an Instagram page or account or having a Facebook page. You're using it like that. So that is really those situations that differentiates the two groups. Okay. It gets trickier when you have a paid group that's also going to be on Facebook, that's going to be all about community and connection, and your free group is doing all of that. It's on Facebook and it's all about community and connection. It's harder to justify that, and especially if you're charging a really low amount for that group, is that it can sound like a no-brainer if it's free. But if you're charging, if you've got a free group and then all of a sudden you have a $9 a month group without any major differentiator like content or calls or connection or coordination, then it's not, people aren't going to top over just to talk to the same people in a different forum. So that's why I want, you to really consider thinking in advance about what will your ultimate paid product look like And why would it be of benefit to them to be in that paid product? What can it do for them that the free group can't do and has never done, but it still is something that people want? And again, that's this scenario where it makes sense to, but there's a lot of scenarios where it doesn't. Because the other thing too, sometimes with free groups is that they can need monitoring. And they, depending on the circumstances, perhaps the topics can be heavy, maybe they can be delicate, maybe there can be some people who take advantage of people and situations in those groups. And that's another reason to think carefully on whether or not your particular value proposition warrants having a group that is free, because it might take your time. And then if you've got something that is eventually paid, now this is actually a really great way to frame it, that you want to give your time and energy to, versus something that was free that you no longer want to give much of your time and attention to, other than sales, other than making sure people know that they can access the content that you're going to use to enroll them into your membership or program or offer. And that's when you'll be showing up in that free group the most, is to offer the free content that you are using within a sales period anyway. Okay? Because it doesn't make sense to offer free content and tools that is supposed to be what you're giving to your members, your paying members. So in that case, you have to really think about how you can maintain that group without offering the same thing, and also not needing any kind of moderating. Okay. And that's where it gets tricky. So if the topics are more sensitive, then I would encourage you to think about not starting the free group if you're going to have to consider shutting it down. Now, that is an option. And one of my clients I talked about that this week, is that maybe it makes sense to, we ran the experiment, we offered this for free for a year, and now we're rolling it into a still low cost and highly valuable program. And the work is now going into positioning it and messaging it and explaining all the benefits in a way better way. And then having more like guaranteed structure that this is what you're going to get every single month. And that free group is going to actually wind down, because can have sticky situations, and the admin of the group, who's now starting the paid membership program, isn't going to be doing all that work in there anymore, and doesn't want an unsafe space. So that is how I'm positioning this. And I know I talked about a lot of things, and maybe not in a lot of clear order, but really it's like a pros and cons. Does your Facebook group lead to an obvious next step for paid clients? Could your free Facebook group, still run on like low maintenance, you barely do anything mode, because you want to save your energy for your membership? And if that's the case, then awesome. You can definitely move it or keep it going. And how will you, and if that's not the case, if it either requires maintenance too much to keep it going, or monitoring because it's unsafe to not have anyone being accountable for it, is it okay to shut it down? Will it have done its job of creating an audience for yourself so that you can then launch a paid membership? Which is great. And there's nothing wrong with that. But it's just, these are the considerations we need to think about. We need to be prepared to make that transition and be firm in it, and ignore all the people who are like, but I love this, don't go. But it's because it's your prerogative. And so that's where I just want, the expectations out there to be like, is this serving you? What is the purpose that it serves? And then what do you do? And then how are you going to be willing to make a really, really clear decision on that, so you don't get yourself into either complete overwhelm overwhelmed from trying to do both. Second of all, not being able to sell the membership because the free one's doing its job anyway, or feeling really bad because you decide to shut it down. So just thinking about those in advance will help you make that decision. Again, I have a Facebook group. I haven't even been posting in it much this month. However, it's an easy place to gather people. People can ask questions in there if they want. However, it's still small, so there's not a lot of that. And I don't plan to share a lot in it other than my trainings and the things that lead to my sales enrollment periods. And that's where I've come comfortable with that. It's just another place for my audience. And then a lot of the people who are in there are from my list anyway. However, if it was a local network and people kind of spread the word on it, and or all had this really, really specific interest, and it was easy for people to share it with friends because they shared interests, then that might grow naturally and actually help me build my audience. However, my goal is really still to grow my list, because that's where I am actually communicating the most important things to me, the things that I want my people, my audience, to know about, which is how can I share with you how great it is to be inside the Profitable Membership Club and growing a membership in general. And that's why people are on my list. So that's my job. And it's really clear that that is my job on my list. It is really a vehicle for people to learn more and take the next step to work more closely with me and all the other members that I have right now. So I hope that was helpful for you. If you're considering opening up a free group to test the waters, let me know. I mean, there's also other things you can do. Like, I love throwing up lead magnets and sometimes running ads to them, or testing ideas at Summit. So there's other ways to do it as well. But I just wanted to share that conundrum and think clearly on it, because not every situation it makes sense to do it, and it might feel like a headache and it might feel stressful. And I found one thing out in the last year is we don't operate well when we're stressed and we don't make good decisions. And that's really just what I want to help make easier for you, which is kind of why I have the membership that I have, is helping guide people make good decisions and feel confident on their journey and being able to share that with others. So thanks for being here today. Share this or like it if you find it helpful, because this is also on YouTube, my favorite new way to share my podcast. And I hope to be posting another time soon, but we'll see, because I'm off for another few days of camping. All right. Have a good one. Bye for now.